My sister-in-law, 29F, is turning my husband, 29M, against me, 28F. Me and my gal decided to tie the knot on the sly not too long ago. We've been cooking up plans for a big ol' wedding, the kind with all the bells and whistles, but when push came to shove, it just didn't feel right for us. Too much fuss, you know? My folks took it in stride from the get-go. I've got a solid bond with them, always have, and they got why I wanted to keep things low-key, no sweat off their backs. Now, my wife's people? That's a different tale. Her mom and her twin sister, they weren't too thrilled. See, those two leaned hard on her for years, ever since it was just the three of them rattling around before her mom got hitched again and popped out a few more kids. Even with the new family setup, her mom and sister still cling to her like she's their lifeline. They got all bent out of shape when we ditched the wedding plans, not 'cause they cared about us swapping vows, mind you, but 'cause they were jazzed about the perks, a fancy weekend getaway, twirling around in pretty dresses, crashing at a swanky hotel on our dime, chowing down on gourmet grub, and sipping free booze. Kinda paints a picture of how self-centered they can be, don't it? This all kicked off back at the start of July. After we snuck off and got hitched, we figured we'd stretch out a trip we already had lined up for Europe. Originally, it was just a week, July 25th to August 2nd, but we tacked on another week, pushing it to August 9th. First, we were gonna kennel our chunky little pug and have a neighbor peek in on our condo, but with 2 weeks away, that felt too long to leave things hanging. So, we reckoned it'd be smarter to have somebody stay over and hold down the fort. That's when my wife piped up with an idea: her sister could do it. She'd be cheaper than hiring some stranger, we knew she wouldn't trash the place, and she's nuts about our dog. Sounded like a win all around. A bit before we jetted off, my wife clued me in that her sister was mulling over a move to our neck of the woods, shifting from Springfield down to Chicago. She'd be scoping out jobs while she was crashing at our place, maybe even lining up some interviews. No biggie, I thought. That gal's been bouncing between gigs forever, and maybe getting out from under her mom's roof would light a fire under her. We never hashed out anything about her sticking around past our 2-week trip, didn't seem like it needed saying. But the day we're heading out, she rolls up on the Amtrak lugging 3 monster suitcases. I was already running on fumes, so I just chuckled to myself, thinking she packed heavier than me, and let it slide. Looking back, that should have been a blaring warning sign, but I was too caught up to clock it. Anyway, we took off, and man, that vacation was a blast. We'd check in every now and then, and everything back home sounded peachy. We roll in late on August 9th, dog-tired but happy. The place is spotless, our pug still his usual plump, lazy self, love that mutt, and it's clear her sister did a bang-up job. She earned her pay, no doubt. We didn't catch her till the next morning, the 10th. I had the day off, but she didn't mention needing a lift to Union Station or hint she was heading back to Springfield. I figured she'd squared it with my wife, so I didn't dig deeper. Hit the sack early that night, didn't even ask what the plan was. Tuesday, I'm off to work like usual, assuming she's cleared out. But when I stroll in that evening, there she is, sprawled on my couch, munching away and glued to the TV. I'm like, what the heck? I ring up my wife, and she tells me her sister's begging to stick around a few more weeks, says she's got a hot job lead and an interview coming up. If it flops, she'll head back south, but she wants to keep hunting from our pad till then. I ain't happy one bit. My wife greenlit this without even a heads up to me, and it stings 'cause she's got this blind spot a mile wide when it comes to her mom and sister. It's a flaw we've gotta iron out down the road. I grit my teeth and say fine, 1 extra week, but she better be pounding the pavement for that job. Flash forward to August 15th, and holy cow, her sister's turned my condo into her personal kingdom. She's hogging the living room like it's her throne, scarfing down all our groceries, then griping when the fridge is bare, telling me my buddies can't use the guest bathroom 'cause it's hers when they swing by, bringing some random dude over to get loud and frisky while we're trying to eat dinner, and tossing snide jabs at my wife about how I'm the one steering the ship at home. She even spins yarns about my wife's kid days, painting her in a bad light. I hit my limit and lay it out for my wife. She nods, says she's with me, but admits she's got no spine when it comes to her mom and sister. She'll fold like a cheap lawn chair if they push. So, I take the reins and sit her sister down. I tell her straight, she's family, sure, but she's crossed a line, milking us dry, and I need to know when she's hitting the road 'cause this ain't cutting it for me or my wife. She fires back that my wife told her she could camp out as long as she wanted, and she's got no plans to bounce back to Springfield, says her mom's a leech and it's toxic down there. Then she drops a low blow, hinting if I boot her, my wife'll turn on me. I call her bluff, give her a week, and tell her I know my wife's heart, she won't let this snake pit of a sister pit us against each other. That chat went south fast. Things simmered down after, and she had her big interview on Monday. She's been giving me the cold shoulder since, but my wife says it went solid, and her sister's hopeful she'll land the gig. Wife told me she brought up staying longer, but my wife held firm, said unless something wild happens, she's outta here. We snag her an Amtrak ticket for Saturday morning. But wouldn't you know it, Friday rolls around, and bam, something wild does pop off right before she's due to split. I get a text from my wife while I'm out, "We gotta talk when you're home." My gut sinks cause I've got a past I ain't proud of, used to swipe stuff, not cause I was broke, but just for the thrill. Been clean for 3 years, since before me and my wife got serious, and I busted my tail in therapy to bury that demon. I've been upfront about it with everybody, including my wife's mom and sister. Turns out, her mom called her Friday morning, saying her sister rang her up Thursday night, bawling. Said some of her clothes vanished, plus a ring, and she went snooping in our bedroom, found the ring on my dresser and dug through my closet, pulling out her missing stuff. She's claiming I'm back to pilfering, and even says she found brand new clothes with tags still on M, stashed by her gear, like I've been hitting stores again. They're playing it off like they're worried about me, not mad, say my job's stressful, and her crashing with us pushed me over the edge. I get home, and it's like walking into a dang ambush. My wife and her sister are parked in the living room, clothes, and that ring laid out like evidence, plus some stolen shirts I'd never seen. My wife's buying it hook, line, and sinker, thinking I've slipped up. She's gutted, wants to help me, while her sister pipes up she'll stay, says she's a certified alcohol and drug counselor, thinks she can fix me. I'm floored. The last day and a half's been a train wreck. Every time her sister gets my wife alone, she's whispering doubts, saying my nice threads don't match my paycheck, hinting I'm hiding something since we ain't in debt. I can see my wife's mind spinning, wondering if I'm back at it. I lay it all out for her, and she's starting to believe me, but she can't wrap her head around her sister framing me. She knows her mom and sister are a mess, but to her, they'd never stab her in the back by coming after me. To me, it's crystal clear, they've always twisted her arm to get their way, and if I wasn't around, her sister'd be shacked up here no problem. Since I'm not playing ball, she's pulling this stunt to shake things up. I'm stumped on how to deal with her or her mom. I know me and my wife can pull through, but I'm scared it'll torch her ties with her family. Now, here's where I need some pointers. How do I keep this mess from festering with my wife long-term, especially with her sister's track record? I'm fretting this'll dog us forever. How do I get through to her that it's me or the door, and how do I shove her sister out now? Should I bother clearing my name on this stealing rap, or just let it lie so I don't look like I'm squirming too hard? Couple days later, things hit a boiling point. I laid it on the line for my wife, her sister's gone tonight, or I'm out and we're done. I ain't gonna be second fiddle to her scheming sister and mom. She picked me, but we both knew her sister wouldn't go quiet. We offered to spring for a hotel and a train ticket if she balked, hoping it'd grease the wheels. I showed my wife your advice, and she didn't say a word, just marched to the guest room, packed her sister's junk in a flash, and told me she was sorry for the whole dang mess. We agreed this ain't just about her sister squatting, it's eating at our marriage, and we've gotta fix it. She's down for therapy with me, and maybe solo if it comes to that. She don't want this to sink us. We had a real heart-to-heart about my old stealing days. I told her if I'd relapsed, our place be littered with random junk, I couldn't stop at a few shirts. She got it, said she's got my back, and figured her sister played her cause of that counselor gig. Sunday night, her sister waltzes in like nothing's up. Took her 10 seconds to spot her bags. My wife shoved M into the hall, and when her sister lunched for M, she locked her out. I stepped back, my wife had to handle this solo. I heard her sister sobbing, and my wife offered the hotel and train deal. She told her to shove it. Next thing, she's wailing loud enough to wake the dead, screaming my wife's controlling her and she's family. Took all I had not to storm out there, but my wife kept me cool, said she's baiting me. Neighbor texted he'd had enough and called the cops. Chicago PD showed up, talked to her first since she's camped in the hall. She tried saying it's her place, wanted me nabbed for theft, her purse, ring, clothes, the works, and said I'm a shoplifter. I spilled the whole saga to the officer, and my wife backed me up, said it's a family squabble, not a crime. Cops told her she's flirting with a false report and disturbing the peace. She whined she's got nowhere to go, but after admitting she's from Springfield, they said we've got two choices: let her crash till she can train out tomorrow, or drive her home now. We didn't trust another night with her, so we piled in the car. She didn't fight it, guess the cops spooked her. First hour of the drive, she's bawling, laying it on thick, my wife's stressing her out, don't I care, she's just looking out for her twin, our bond's weak cause I don't want kids. I snapped, called her a few choice names, crazy, dumb, unhinged. Ain't proud of it, but I was done. We cranked an audiobook after that, tuned her out. She zonked out, and we stewed in our nerves till we dumped her at her mom's at 2 a.m. Her mom called 15 minutes later, raging I'm a plague on their clan, telling my wife to ditch me for family. My wife shot back she's with me, sorry it's gotta be a choice, but that's on them. On the ride home, my wife unloaded. Turns out her sister and mom put her through hell growing up, beatings, mind games, and her mom always pinned it on her. She thought distance fixed it, but she's seeing it's deeper. She's facing losing her whole family, mom, sister, stepdad, half-sibs, and it's tearing her up. Took this blowout to rip the lid off, and it's killing me to see her hurt. We crashed hard next day, binged some Rick and Morty, hit therapy, and scarfed killer pizza. Our world's wobbly, but I reckon we can rebuild. Her mom and sister blew up her phone with apologies, but we're leaning toward cutting em off cold, new numbers and all. I say it's the play, but she's torn about emergencies. What's the move? And where do I hunt down a therapist for her family baggage? 2 weeks later, we'd settled back in after kicking her sister out. Had some calm days, got into our groove, hit therapy, and lined up a solo shrink for my wife. Didn't swap our numbers, figured we'd block em if they pushed. Wasn't a problem till Friday. Her little brother, 16 and still at home, rang her up. Said her mom and sister were headed our way to see some kin and dragging him along to visit her. He smelled a rat, and so did she, they're using him to worm back in. I was out of town for a buddy's bachelor bash, leaving her solo till Sunday, and she was rattled. Saturday, her brother calls again, says he's got a window to hang out before they split, and they're near our place. They chill at ours, play video games, grab takeout, just good brother time. He tells her he ain't buying the trash her mom and sister are spewing online. Showed her their Facebook posts, her mom's wailing I brainwashed my wife, calling me a devil and a cancer, begging for prayers. She ain't even churchy, but there it is. My wife held it together till they left. Her mom and sister tried barging up, but she kept them downstairs, talking outside. Then her sister drops a gut punch, says she's been wrecked, had a miscarriage, needs her twin. My wife's drowning in guilt, we didn't even know. I get home Sunday, and she's a mess. We lock horns over it. I'm fed up with her mom and sister, especially after seeing their posts. She says her mom's unhinged, but her sister's just got a couple snarky jabs, not her fault. I ain't buying it, she lit this fire, miscarriage or not, and I don't even know if it's legit. We sling mud, her calling me heartless, me calling her gullible, and it's ugly for us. We cool off, talk it out, but Monday's tense. She's texting her sister to check in, and I feel like I'm back behind her in line. Shouldn't I be top dog? How do I handle this? Therapy together a good call, or go no contact till we sort it? I don't want to rob her sister of support if it's real, but my marriage comes first. How do I make that clear without sounding like a jerk? Then, out of nowhere, her mom's gone. Died Saturday, alone, looks like she mixed too many pills with booze and slipped away in her sleep. My wife's torn up, normal, I guess, but her and her brother are sorting the funeral. We're waffling on going. I'm half against it, after all the grief that woman dished out, why give her a send-off? But seeing my wife and her kin hurting, even with all the crap, she was still their mom sometimes. I'm mad she got off easy, snoozing out like that after the chaos she caused. Ought'd be more karma coming her way, you know? We end up going. Flew to her hometown yesterday, and I'm taking a breather cause her mom left letters in her safe. Her brother handed 'em out last night. Hers to me says she's sorry, hopes we patched things up, admits she froze me out and messed up with my wife by doing it. Says I'm good for her, wishes we'd been pals, apologizes for the pain. I ain't having it. I write back I tried for years to make nice, but she fought me tooth and nail, schemed against me, shamed me, twisted everything till I was scared of her next move. Her dying don't erase that she was rotten to me, and I won't miss her or spin yarns about her to our kids. I'll help my wife heal, but her mom can rot. Felt good to get that off my chest.